Kurt Russell is simply one of the all-time greatest, and his 1997 vehicle Breakdown a true thriller marvel.
He's not worried about the ones who think he's crazy.
My wife did not leave me.
He's worried about the ones who know he's telling the truth.
You the fella looking for his wife?
Kurt Russell.
You better pray she's alive.
Breakdown.
Where is she?
Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage and today I want to recommend you a movie that was very dear to my heart when I was younger. I just rewatched it for this review 2 days ago and I think it still holds up. When I do these reviews of older movies, I want to talk about some of my favorite films, but I'm also trying not to pick the ones that are extremely well known and beloved by everybody anyway. So I hope that Jonathan Mostow's 1997 action thriller Breakdown might be something you want to check out after this video. Jonathan Mostow's filmography isn't that big and he's probably most known for directing the third movie in the Terminator franchise, Rise of the Machines. The two other movies worth mentioning here are his 2000 submarine war film U-571 and of course Breakdown, especially because he also came up with the stories to those two and co-wrote the screenplays. He got the idea for Breakdown while driving through Las Vegas with his wife, and this directly transfers into the story of the film. It's extremely basic, but that's one thing I like so much about it. A man searches for his missing wife after his car breaks down in the middle of the desert. That man is played by Kurt Russell, one of the most charismatic, likable actors in the history of cinema. His wife is played by Kathleen Quinlan, and they are both on their way from Boston to San Diego. The money they had was put into a brand new car, and they plan to start a new life. It's just a few expository details the movie cleverly reveals about that couple and their situation, but it's all that's needed and it also amplifies the stakes later on. These aren't rich people, though the villains of the film think they are. And Kurt Russell's character Jeff Taylor is also no secret war veteran or trained fighter. He's your everyday man. But what he is determined, completely determined to get his wife back, and that's something the villains got wrong as well. Seeing him and his wife in that shiny new red car, they think they are easy prey. Once their car breaks down and a seemingly friendly trucker, played by J.T. Walsh, offers to give them a lift, they decide to split up. Jeff waits at the car while Amy drives to the nearest diner with their trucker to call a tow truck. But not only doesn't anyone seem to have seen her when Jeff checks the diner a few hours later, but upon stumbling into the same trucker again, he supposedly has never ever seen his wife or him before. I still remember vividly that this was always the moment that really got to me as a child. This situation of being completely left alone in the middle of the desert with the guy who obviously has something to do with the missing of his wife. This sudden realization that things got horribly wrong and that this is an absolute nightmare. The two main reasons why I think Breakdown is such a good and tense thriller are one, that it is completely reduced in form and content. It's just 93 minutes long with almost no fat to it. There's no rampant exposition, no side stories, no complex narrative, and the filmmaking is sharp and to the point as well. And the other reason is the purity and the extreme of the emotions that the film is able to convey, which really begins in that moment. Kurt Russell is fantastic in the role of the husband who won't stop before he got his wife back. And yet he isn't like Liam Neeson in Taken, for example. He's very much at the brink of not being strong enough throughout the whole film. There is barely a moment where he's in a superior situation where he has the upper hand. But when he is, it's even stronger and more cathartic. Breakdown is a film that has me on the edge of my seat, a film that's never losing its grip. It's constantly moving forward, adding little narrative information about the motivation of the bad guys through little lines of dialogue here and there, or some environmental storytelling as well. Just enough to let you construct a picture in your head, but not too much that it would take away from the film's focus on pure cinematic suspense. Jonathan Mostow, together with director of cinematography Doug Milsam and composer Basil Polidoris, succeed in creating this super tense, menacing atmosphere. Of course, they use known elements or stereotypes, if you will, but they do so to great effect. the opening credits that are popping up in front of maze-like maps of the American West, the vast godforsaken hot desert that will swallow you whole, worn-out cars and worn-out people that clash with the supposedly richer folks from the East Coast. It's a great setting and it's used in a way that lets you get fearful or even paranoid as well. Maybe all the people in that diner that are so dirty looking are in on the kidnapping. Maybe even the cops. Maybe it's Jeff Taylor against the whole world. At least that's the evoked feeling, and it's a great feeling for a thriller like this. J.T. Walsh, who unfortunately died way too young just 1 year after the release of Breakdown, is a great deadpan villain. Not your typical hillbilly, because he seems more intelligent, more scheming. The hillbilly aspect is added by his collaborators, and each one, even if they don't have that much screen time or fleshed out personalities, is cast extremely well, and they make for a great antagonistic force that is built against our everyday man hero. As I've said, the film is extremely tense and Kurt Russell adds the perfect intensity in his acting. At all times you feel his frustration and terror, but also his determination. The film has a great pace and it's not overstuffed with action that might take away from its grounded realism. In the finale we get some really great action set pieces and there might be one or two minor moments where it's a bit over the top, but at that point you accept or celebrate it as an expression of the fury and anger of our protagonist. Breakdown came out in 1997, and in that year it has to be one of the most old school and practical action films. Even more than 20 years later you still feel that action because you feel the emotions. 1997 gave us a lot of incredible action films, and some of the following I even love more than Breakdown, but of all of them, Breakdown is the most real and most frightful one. Just compare the tone and action to films like Con Air, Air Force One, The Fifth Element, Face Off, Tomorrow Never Dies, or Speed 2. Breakdown gets to the core. It is lean, it is mean, it stirs up your emotions and it takes you on a tense journey to the limits of this one man who again is brought to life by Kurt Russell in his prime. So in German I'd say, Breakdown ist noch immer einer der besten Vertreter seines Genres. Reduziert auf das Wesentliche und einfach verdammt mitreißend. I give Breakdown 8 out of 10. It's more like 8.1, but I don't do that.
What's that? You want me to stop? You really want me to stop? Because I'll bet this baby stops on a fucking dime!
Alright, that's it like always. Comment below and let me know what you think about Breakdown. And also let me know what is your favorite role of Kurt Russell. You can hit me up on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram simply at @JimmyCage. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like. And make sure you hit that bell for all I have to tell.